Hello guys, it is Friday and that means another episode of our reviews is coming at you. And this week, I was actually really excited for this week because this week I knew walking into the theater I was going to see a good movie. That doesn't always happen, and there have been a couple of times I'm like, yeah, this might work out really well, and I was greatly disappointed. And there have been weeks where I've walked in to the theater and been like, I'm just seeing this because this is what I have to review this week. Spider-Man. And even though I really enjoyed Spider-Man, it was usually a movie that I saw as this could be fucked. And I loved Spider-Man, and go click on the playlist if you want to see that review right after this one. If not, let's talk about War for Planet of the Apes. Now I want to kind of take this movie not exactly step by step, but as step by step as I remember it. I did see it a couple hours ago, and I kind of wanted to digest because there's a lot going on in this movie. So let's talk about the opening cinematics. The biggest thing that I was worried about with this movie was how well was it going to kind of remember the other two movies in the series. I think that was movie Dawn. Yeah, that was Dawn on the Planet of the Apes' movie's biggest default was that it kind of forgot that it was a sequel, and that movie could have easily worked as a standalone film, but it instead was a sequel. But it completely, with the exception of Caesar and the couple of backstory you could have ditched out in the first 5 minutes of the second movie, kind of forgot that it was a part of a trilogy. And I was kind of worried that's what was going to happen with this movie, that it was going to completely forget that it was a part of a trilogy. And I'm happy to say it doesn't. In fact, it annoyingly reminds you that it knows that it's part of a trilogy by starting up the opening credits with a bit of textual narration that says, in Rise, there was a disease that pretty much breaks down the other two movies down to their core significance in regards to this movie. In Rise, there was a disease that wiped out most of American civilization and most of the human civilization and gave way to apes taking over the planets. And in Dawn, we started a war, basically. With a rebel monkey named Koba. We started a war. And that's pretty much all it kind of tells you about the other two movies. And for the most part, personally, I think it's a little much that it tells you so much about the other movies. Almost as if it's expecting you not to remember what happened in the other two movies. And kind of like, hey, just in case you forgot. Which, personally, as much as I am shitting on it for just kind of being clunky and not a smooth way of doing it, I really did enjoy that aspect of it. I thought it was really smart, being that these movies don't come out every 6 months like a Marvel movie, and I really did enjoy that it took the moment to be like, hey, like, we realized that it's been like 2 years since the last time we made one of these. Let me give you the Spark Notes version of the other two movies. So besides that being clunky, I thought it was a really smart way of being like, hey, here's some shit you need to know. So past that, the movie really takes on this redemption and revenge kind of plot line, which I'm okay with, even though of the actual nature of the movie takes a little bit too long in my opinion to actually get to where that part of the movie is. Everything in the movie is kind of kicked off by the colonial. How do I say American words? I don't fucking know. Like killing Caesar's family, and right before that we get this awesome scene of the apes kind of showing that, yeah, they have been fighting back, and they've kind of been losing. They've kind of been in this losing battle for a while now, and it's this really nice way of showing that they are outmanned, outgunned, and are easily going to be overtaken if they don't get real crafty real soon. So after that scene goes by, and we kind of see how the apes are kind of faring off with their better equipped counterparts, we get the scene of why they're, which was the most confusing thing in my perspective, why were the apes helping the humans in some of the trailers, and we get that answer fairly quickly. And the answer is that, for a long story short, they still work with Cobra, and they still follow Cobra, and they feel what Caesar is going to do would do to them if he had his way. Now, this is the explanation we're given, and even though it's a little bit, it gets argued in the movie that no, we just want to be on the winning side, it's up in the air for most of the film. As the film continues, we get these awesome scenes where you really get to see the struggle between the apes and the humans. There are multiple times in this movie where you start to question who the actual quote-unquote monster is. There are some themes of the horrors of war, the price of war, what does it mean to be human, and all these really fun, almost at this point, and I might be overstepping my boundaries, and by might I mean I'm totally overstepping my boundaries, I would almost say cliche war story points to kind of go over, but they do feel refreshing in this movie, which I enjoy. I enjoy that it's not just like cut and paste. You don't understand just how fucked everything is. I love how there is a little bit more nuance to it. The other thing I really enjoyed about this movie was which is weird, but I really enjoyed the performances by the Colonel Woody, whose actual last name I'm forgetting because I can't remember names to save my life. Woody Harrelson? Was it Harrelson? Probably Harrelson. I don't fucking know. But I love his portrayal of almost a man purified and ripped apart at the same time by grief, which is the majority of his character arc. Which isn't a bad thing, it's just something that I wish there was more to him. He almost takes on this religious kind of presence and with his reasoning, and it's nice, but I don't know. The undertones of religious fuckery is a little bit too much in my perspective, but I don't really know. I think the way the movie kind of shows that at this point, following this one guy is almost become like a cult, and I can follow the logic with it. I'm not sure of how I feel about it, if that makes sense. Okay, so moving on. Caesar's whole redemption and arc, which, as much as I don't like the actual his actual character arc and how it goes about, it is a really solid character arc. From all the previous movies, we see that he is kind of the hero in everything. In this, he kind of takes more of an anti-role, much more selfish role in the film, which is something that I really enjoy. I like seeing this almost perfect character kind of going dark and kind of having those deeper tones of, look, I'm not just someone for my people, I'm someone specifically for my family, and I like that they actually went there and that they go there. While you can't make the argument that, yeah, he loses his family in the first 20 minutes in the movie, and that's something that he's kind of gone through before when losing James Franco's character and losing really everyone else. I don't quite think that that's a fair statement to say. I feel like it's much more personal this time, and it's kind of getting deeper and deeper into the psyche of this ape at this point. There is a kind of eye roll cringe moment where he does say, you know, this is our last stand, more or less, and if we lose here, it will be a planet of apes. And I don't know. I think it's because I watched too much Cinema Sins and too much honest trailers. But I feel like whenever a movie throws in the title of the movie, it just, I don't know. It kind of feels forced. I always end up rolling my eyes at it, and it just, I don't know. For me, it kind of breaks the tension of this super badass military guy going, it's gonna be a Planet of the Apes. It's like, okay, cool. I don't know. It feels awkward when it's thrown in, and I just didn't like it. But that's gonna be the majority of my review. If you want to stay away from spoilers, I highly suggest you leave now, because I'm gonna get into spoilers. Spoilers. Alright, you gone? Because you've been warned. Alright, so let's talk about spoilers. So the movie kind of comes to this pinnacle when we learn that Woody Harrelson's character, I'm going to just call him Woody Harrelson, and if it's not Woody Harrelson, I'm very sorry that I fucked up your name. But you know what? I didn't do an IMDb search before I started this recording, because why would I go through any prep? Why would I do that? So Woody Harrelson's character, we've learned that he has also lost his little boy to the apes, and it was a part of the crew that we meet in the second movie that gets killed by Cobra and the other apes. And we kind of see that he's also been taking this route of, I need redemption and I need to be saved at this point. But his hatred for apes have kind of blinded him to the fact that even though his son have gotten this virus, which kind of comes out of nowhere, plot-wise, we see evidence of it before. He's on this virus that basically deteriorates him and makes him more primitive and more quote-unquote ape-like. And in his hatred of apes, he kind of has decided that rather than having an ape for a son, or someone with the ape mindset, he would rather kill his son instead of having that. And I don't know, and it shows just how far his character has gone, and how just completely messed up his worldview of these apes. And I really do appreciate that. I am kind of worried that some SJW, that's the acronym for that, yes, it's just warrior, is gonna be like, yeah, making fun of the disabled, the mentally handicapped. Okay, calm down. It's a fictional thing. Chill. But that is something I'm worried about, mainly because I'm just aware of how fucked up people can take things for no goddamn reason, basically. So it is something I wanted to point out. But I personally didn't take it that way. I know that someone's going to. And I don't want you guys to kind of be like, okay, no, that person has a point. No, it's a made-up thing. And he's the villain anyway. It's the fucking villain. Shut the fuck up. So we go through all that. And we end up getting this really almost comeuppance and beautiful ending where Woody Harrelson's character has kind of brought on the destruction of mankind by kind of inciting this giant final battle between all the remaining humans in North America, which cultivates in an awesome action shots where you see Caesar running away from the explosions and smoke and all this shit, and And Avalanche thought so I had the like hiccup, but it was also like half a burp and it was really gross. Oh, there it is. And by the end of the movie, there are no more humans, and I don't know. I find it really fitting that it's because of this character who hated apes so much, and just really wanted the survival of his species, is the one to bring it down. And not only that, but he himself has caught the disease that makes you deteriorate, and has chosen to opt to end his own life. After Caesar has given him the option of living and leaving him to his own devices, we see that his pride and his hubris is in fact too much, and it rounds out Caesar's character quite nicely and ends off the main antagonist. So then for some reason the monkeys become really spiritual and get their own version of a promised land, which is kind of weird. And as they get to the promised land, essentially, after going through a desert and all this other nonsense, Caesar is talking to Marcus, the big orange orangutan from the first film, and says, you know, they're strong enough without me now, and it's my time to go. And he then succumbs to his injuries from the final battle, and it's this really beautiful end, not only to a great character in Andy Serkis's Caesar, but also in this, he very much was a general. Even though he was a reluctant general, he was a wartime leader. From the very beginning, in the very first film, all the way to his last film. And it's a very beautiful kind of showing that even though he was reluctant, that was the character he was, and now the apes don't need that anymore. The apes are now in this promised land, and they're going to be finally safe. And personally, it is really beautiful showing that the apes are now safe. There's nothing more that could trouble the apes besides themselves. And I really just liked that touch. I like that little subtle hint from Caesar and everything. I like that they have the scholar in Marcus having his own full story arc in that he finally speaks in this film, and he's kind of left as a leader, even though it's not explicitly clear about that. He is the last person to talk to Caesar, and all the monkeys end up looking towards him, but they're probably just looking towards Caesar, and I'm probably just looking way too much into it. But yeah, now. And this really beautiful moment at the end, and we get this beautiful kind of sunrise, sunset type thing, and it really is just a really nice ending to a beautifully crafted series. Now, the thing I am curious about is whether or not this will actually be the end of the reboots. Personally, I think it should be, but I also thought that about the about Rise and about Dawn. I both felt that neither one of those films exactly needed more films, but lo and behold, we got them anyway, which isn't a bad thing. It's just something that at the time I didn't feel was necessary, and lo and behold, we still got them. So that shows how much I know when it comes to Hollywood. All in all, I think that this is a movie that is really well done and really does its themes and everything it's trying to do justice, while not completely overstating them and not making it seem campy. The themes of hatred and personal demons and having to overcome those for your own good is something that I think is really well done in this movie. And personally, I'm glad that I got to see this movie when it came out, and I do think you guys should see it, and then tell me what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. Tell me if I'm just spouting bullshit, or tell me if I'm giving this movie far too much credit, and it's just a dumb movie about apes and a heartless cash grab like the other movies in this reboot franchise have been. But until next time, my name is Insane Raven, and I will see you guys in my next video. I'm gonna try to get into a good position to end the video, and bye!